Before his mother Remda died, his father Varok promised her that Dranosh would remain safe and untainted on Draenor. Before crossing to the other side of the Dark Portal, he had the Elders of Geradar hide Dranosh away so that the Orcish warlocks couldn't find him. Hidden from the corruption that consumed much of the Horde, Dranosh grew up among the Maghar of Geradar, one of the orcs who had remained untouched by demon blood. As he grew older, however, the young orc began to display the same courage and determination that reminded the village of his father. That determination would eventually be tested when the Merkblood tribe launched an attack that took the lives of numerous orcs. Unwilling to let the assault go unanswered, Dranosh formed a raiding party and set out to destroy those responsible. But things did not go as planned. Most of his warriors were killed, and although Dranosh survived alongside only a handful of orcs, he suffered severe injuries. Eventually, he lost consciousness and later awoke at the Maghari procession. After recovering from his injuries, Dranosh encountered Horde adventurers who agreed to help him take revenge on the Merkblood tribe. Once the task was complete, he spoke with the adventurers and asked if there were more heroes like them where they came from. The question revealed something about the young warrior. His thoughts were no longer focused solely on Geradar or even Outland. He had begun looking toward a larger world. Following his recovery, Dranosh decided he would not return home, believing that his destiny lay elsewhere. When Farseer Korhuk heard this, he remarked, "The Son is the Father. May the spirits have mercy on those that stand in his way." Eventually, Dranosh made his way to Azeroth, where he reunited with his father. Together, they joined the Warsong Offensive and made the trek north, where the war against the Lich King would truly begin. Upon arriving on Northrend, Dranosh was given command over the Horde's vanguard and was sent to Angrithar the Wrathgate to lead the forces there. But before he left, Varok gifted his son his armor and axe. One thing that Varok was worried about was who was leading the forces in Northrend at the time. Garrosh Hellscream. He was a great warrior, but with his savage tactics, Varok worried that things wouldn't go well. In a letter that adventurers received, he says, "If you are reading this letter, then you are alive and in one piece, or at least you still have your eyes. I must apologize for the secrecy. Agmar demands that all mail is read before delivery. Too many traitors and thieves there, as the wanted poster no doubt displays. There are delicate matters herein that could easily be misconstrued by the new guard. For a soldier of the Horde, loss is absolute. Loss means death, and there is no negotiation or interpretation with death. One can only hope that the manner of their death was honorable. But victory can mean many things. As you have probably noticed, the Kor'kron are there in full force. The war chief has sent his elite guard to help secure victory in Northrend. They, along with you and other heroes, are pushing the Lich King and his forces towards an inevitable conclusion. With each challenge you overcome, we are one step closer to ridding our world of Arthas and the Scourge. And therein lays the dilemma. For you see, our forces in Northrend work under the auspices of young Hellscream. Each victory bolsters the morale of the Horde forces here, which carries through to the rest of Azeroth. It is unfortunate, then, that Hellscream employs such savage tactics. As victory approaches, Hellscream gains further justification for his methods, which in turn brings us closer to a place we have not been in many years, a dark place. I have sent my son to command our forces at the Wrathgate. I know that he will battle with honor, and I remain hopeful that his courage and tenacity will be noticed and emulated by our forces. He is my heart and strength in a place I cannot be. You will be my eyes and ears. Together we will make it right. Blood and thunder. May your arrival bring them both." Throughout Dranosh's journey, he encountered the Alliance and their commander, Bolvar Fordragon, and over time they realized that they would need to work together to make the attack on the Wrathgate a viable plan. Eventually, the two developed a certain level of respect for one another. But before they could march on the Wrathgate, they first had to establish bases near the attack point and ensure that reinforcements couldn't come to the Lich King's aid. To accomplish this, the Horde ventured into Azul Narub and blocked the tunnels leading into Dragonblight, ensuring that the Lich King would not gain reinforcements from the Nerubians, should they attempt to join the battle. With those objectives completed, the assault was ready to begin. The march began, and the Alliance was the first to make contact with the Scourge. It was a brutal fight as they struggled to gain ground and push closer to the gate, hoping to draw the Lich King out into the open. Suddenly, the gates opened and revealed reinforcements of Vrykul pouring out to join the battle and crush the attackers. The battle reached a stalemate as swords clashed against axes and blades tore through flesh. But the Scourge slowly began to gain ground, until an Orcish war cry echoed from behind the Alliance lines. Horde forces charged into battle to assist in the fight, and the tide began to turn as the Horde and Alliance worked together against this colossal threat. Dranosh joined Bolvar in battle, and with one swing of his axe he cleaved through 3 Vrykul before moving on to 8 others fighting their foes. Eventually, a lull settled over the battlefield, and the combined forces got closer to the gate. Bolvar called out to Arthas, demanding that he come forth and answer for his crimes. They got their wish as the gates opened once more, revealing the Lich King walking toward them. He mocked their efforts and casually raised more Scourge forces into the fight. But Dranosh could wait no longer. He charged forward, intent on ending the threat with one swing of his mighty axe, but he underestimated the true power of the Lich King and the strength behind him. With a swing of Frostmourne, Arthas not only shattered his axe, but also struck down the young orc. But that wasn't all. He waved the point of Frostmourne over Dranosh's body, stealing his soul. And with that simple action, the Lich King added another soul to his vast collection held inside his weapon. The Scourge would later recover Dranosh's body and raise him into becoming one of the strongest Death Knights in the Lich King's arsenal. After Dranosh fell, the attack plan collapsed when Putris appeared atop the cliffs overlooking the battlefield and unleashed a new plague designed to kill both the living and the dead. That was when all hell broke loose. Canisters crashed into the battlefield and poisonous clouds slowly engulfed the combatants below. Many fell that day, including Bolvar Fordragon. The Lich King likely would have as well, but he escaped behind the walls of the wrathgate before he succumbed to the toxin. Following the devastating battle and the red dragons cleansing the area with their flames, Alexstrasza asked a Horde adventurer to return Dranosh's armor to his father. When the adventurer arrived and presented the armor to Varok, he was obviously devastated by the loss, but he told the adventurer not to mourn his son. Like Varok's older brother Broxigar, Dranosh had died a hero, as he said, and for an orc there could be no better end, no greater honor, and this moment my heart swells with pride. The armor would later be placed upon his pyre at the ancestral grounds in Nagrand. After so many battles and so many dead, the final assault on Icecrown Citadel had begun. At this point, neither faction truly knew what had become of Dranosh following his fall. They likely suspected he had been raised by the Lich King, but between the plague and the cleansing flames, no one knew for certain. That uncertainty remained until the factions ascended Icecrown Citadel. Nearing the top of the Lich King's fortress, the Horde forces approached a large door, but then a figure emerged from it. There stood the fallen son of Varok. They had encountered Deathbringer Saurfang. With skulls adorning his dark blue armor and his axe radiating a frosty aura, the once Maghar orc had been transformed. His skin appeared frozen, his eyes glowed with an icy blue light, and the young warrior who had once fought for the Horde now stood ready to destroy those he had once called allies.
Join me, Father. Join me and we will crush this world in the name of the Scourge, for the glory of the Lich King.
My boy died at the wrathgate. I am here only to collect his body.
Stubborn and old, what chance do you have? I am stronger and more powerful than you ever were.
We named him Dranosh. It means Heart of Draenor in Orcish. I would not let the warlocks take him. My boy would be safe, hidden away by the elders of Garadar. I made a promise to his mother before she died, that I would cross the dark portal alone. Whether I lived or died, my son would be safe, untainted. Today, I fulfill that promise.
The battle began, and as Varok and his troops charged forward, they were struck by a spell that slowly began strangling them. time was short, and so the remaining warriors fought as quickly as they could to bring down the risen Dranosh, hoping to save those suspended in the air before it was too late. After a fierce battle, Deathbringer Saurfang finally fell. While the others remained behind to recover, Varok approached his son's body and took a moment beside him before lifting him into his arms. He then carried Dranosh back to the airship to take him home to Nagrand, allowing the remaining warriors to press onward and finally bring an end to the Lich King's reign. Eventually, Varok made his way to Nagrand, near the resting place of his family. With the warm air and the sun shining down upon the grasslands, it was a welcome change from the frigid temperatures and what had felt like perpetual night in Icecrown. Before him lay his son upon an unlit pyre as memories flooded through the broken-hearted father. Dranosh had been dressed in simple garments from Garadar, and just before Varok touched a lit torch to the pyre, he couldn't help but think back to something he had said to his wife so long ago. "Keep him on our world, my love. He will be safe, untouched." As he lowered the torch and the flames began to spread across the pyre, consuming everything they touched, another memory came to him. The day he had chosen his son's name. "I will name him Dranosh, Heart of Draenor." The flames continued to grow until the entire pyre was engulfed, roaring with intense heat. Yet, Varok wouldn't leave. Not until he had seen his son become nothing but ash. He forced himself to remain there and watch until the very end. Before laying Dranosh to rest, however, he had retrieved his son's necklace, and from that day forward he wore it in his honor. Later, when Thrall prepared to leave for Nagrand to learn more about the elemental unrest spreading across the world, he found himself needing someone to lead the Horde in his absence. In that moment, he could not help but think of Dranosh. Thrall admitted to Varok that had his son survived, he would have been a perfect candidate to become War Chief. And that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks for checking it out, and please, do take care of yourself. You're doing great. With each challenge you overcome, we are one step closer to ridding our world of Azeroth and the Scourge. Oh god. Ridding our world of Azeroth and the Scourge. No, you don't want to get rid of Azeroth. Oh god, that's fun. I know that he will battle with honor, and I remain hopeful that his courage and tenacity will be... But the Scourge slowly began to gain ground until an orcish war cry echoed from behind the enemy line. Alex Straza asked a Horde adventurer to return... I don't know what the hell I was doing there.